Today I'm going to review 6 iPhone editing techniques to edit your smartphone food photos. I'm Lee Loftus, a food and beverage photographer of 10 years. I shoot with restaurants and hotels across the United States, and because of that, this channel is dedicated to teaching you how to become a better food and beverage photographer using only your cell phone. Subscribe over here, check back every Tuesday. We have new videos to teach you just that. Have you ever looked at your photos and just thought to yourself, I wish I knew how to edit it. I know I could make this look probably 10 times better. Well, by the end of this video, you're gonna know exactly that. I'm gonna walk you through how I would edit your photos, and I guarantee they're gonna look better and better each time you do it. So let's jump right in. So before we jump in, I just want to mention we have the exact same photo that I'm going to edit below, so you can download it. I would advise watching this through once, it's not that long, and then going back and editing with me as we go so you can get the feel for exactly what I'm doing and how and why I'm doing it. So now you have your photo downloaded. I picked mussels because it has really good texture and it can help me explain contrast as well as sharpness to you. So from here in your upper right-hand corner is the edit button. Go ahead and click that. And then right down here, this tool allows you to do cropping and straightening. So a lot of times you'll hear me talk about having very straight lines. We're shooting overhead, so we're not super worried about architecture, but if you shot a cocktail or a dish straight on, you want to pay attention to your lines being straight, and that's how you would edit that. Here we have your filters. I never use filters. I like to control exactly every single color, every detail in my photo based on what I want it to be. And you can't really do that with filters, but they are here in case you want to use them. And then I go into this tool. So this opens up your light, color, and black and white. We're not going to change anything black and white because that doesn't really work for food. So we're going to go first into your light tool. The very first thing I use is brilliance. Brilliance overall helps enhance both the brightness, the contrast, and the texture of your photo, which lends itself very well to food and beverage. Again, I don't go overboard. I'm gonna go overboard to show you why it looks bad or why it looks awful. So scrolling it all the way to right, it makes your brights too bright. It makes the juice in here look a little greasy. And if we go the other way, it just takes away, everything's too dark and you lose contrast and color. So I actually tend to bump it up maybe to about 5 to 7%. We look good here at about 4 or 5%. I come down to the bottom again and I hit the tool that opens up our light box. Here we have exposure. I also don't mess with exposure very often because I set that, like we talked about earlier with your auto exposure and autofocus, I actually set that and expose the way I wanted to for the shot, but I'm gonna walk you through what it would look like if you change it. So if you end up with a dark photo, you can sometimes come down here and scroll. If you scroll to the right, you get it lighter. If you scroll to the left, you get it darker. So since we shot it the way we wanted to at the beginning, I'm gonna leave that exactly where it is, but now you know in case you just happen to have it a little too dark or a little too bright, you can change that here. Open up the light box again, and we get to our highlights. This is where I actually play around with contrast. So later on, I'm going to address contrast itself, and I don't tend to use it very often. The reason being is that when you use highlights and shadows instead, you can control the value. So if you use contrast, it does both of them at the same time, and it's not as minute of increases or decreases based on what you want. So that's why I do highlights and shadows instead. So again, I'm going to blow it all the way out and show you what it looks like if I go all the way to the right, way too bright. All the way to the left, everything is too orange and just too dramatic. So I tend to, this one is actually, the shine is for me a little bit too bright. So I'm going to bring the highlights down and you can see the increase of detail in the shells there. Brought it down to about a 10. Then we're gonna go just below that and open shadows. The exact same concept here, only for shadows. And the shadows to me are a little bit bright. For the sake of learning, I'm gonna show you. So that just, if you bump it up all the way, it's just bright and greasy and doesn't complement the food. If you go down all the way, you lose a ton of detail and it's too dramatic. So here I'm gonna land somewhere in about a 20 or 30. And that still allows the shells to have really great detail. The mussel here is looking very sharp. The tomato's looking really great, so I feel like that's a good place to land. Here below that we have brightness. It's similar to your exposure. If your shot's too dark, you can increase the brightness. Most of the time it's increasing in your shadowed areas, your shadow or your midtones. It's increasing everything, but it's really addressing those spots, while your exposure addresses everything a little bit more evenly. I don't tend to use it very often, again, unless I accidentally didn't shoot it the exact way I wanted. I might touch this, but for the sake of what we're doing today, I'd say tend to leave it alone. Same thing with contrast, just want to show you it. I use my highlights and shadows instead, but see if I bring it all the way to the right, everything is just, it's not even balanced. It's actually way too dark. Some of it's way too dark and some of it's way too light, and I go the opposite way, and it just doesn't look great. So leave that at 0. And our very last thing we have here is black point. Now this I do sometimes play around with if the shadows didn't get me where I wanted to. So if you go all the way to the left, you're lightening it. It's getting a little bit more matte and removing detail, which might be a look that you're going for. And or if you increase it, it helps add darks into your shadowy areas. And I'm gonna add about 5% there. And open the color box. And here is where I will change saturation and cast. I always talk about your plates. Your plates are white most of the time, so you want to look at your photo and do your plates look white. So we'll open up the cast, and if you go all the way to the left, it's going to make it more blue, bluish green. And if you slide to the right, it's going to add yellow. So this dish, it's shot really pretty, but I actually think it would look okay to add a bit of yellow. I don't want the plate to look too yellow, but I'm going to go ahead and increase just a bit, because to me it reminds me of summer. It looks warm and inviting, so I'm going to go to about a 10 here, and I feel like that's good. I do not change contrast at all. I'll show you what it looks like. You're changing the contrast of the colors, not just the photo, and it just blows everything out or removes color. It does not help food photos, so I say don't ever touch that. And lastly, we'll go with saturation. So we all know what you do when you desaturate something, you turn it black and white. With food and beverage, the way our phones shoot, and even my camera shoots, it's not always perfect. It's not always capturing the brightness of your tomatoes or the brightness of your veggies. So I say go ahead and enhance. Again, not too much. You don't want things to look just not like food. So you can always press and hold your thumb so you can see cropped original. I don't really like, that's where we started, and here's where we ended. It's more contrast, it's sharper, it's brighter, the food looks more inviting and like you want to eat it. Knowing something is not the same as practicing something. So we set up a Facebook group just for you guys. I run it. So I really want you to take the tools that you've just learned, practice them, head over there, upload 1 or 2 photos, tell us what it is you worked on, and I can give you feedback one-on-one, and the more of you that join, you guys can get inspiration from one another, as well as provide feedback to your peers. Thank you so much for watching this video. If it was helpful for you, be sure to let us know by commenting with the word helpful below, or like it and share it with your friends. My whole goal here is to really help all of you take amazing pictures of your food and beverage. You spend all these hours making perfect cocktail or making the perfect dish, and then you don't get the best photos. So this is intended to make all of your shots 10 times better.